very pleased to see you. Thank you so much for your time today. So when you negotiated the revised US RK 123 agreement, what was the primary concern Washington had regarding Korea?
I would say that we had three concerns. First was to negotiate an agreement that reflected the full maturity of our bilateral relations and the advanced economic, technical, and military cooperation between these two allies. Second was to ensure that in the future development of nuclear power around the world, that the United States and Korea would be full cooperative partners, as well as competitors in some areas. And third, as with every civil nuclear agreement, so-called 123 agreement, it had been the policy of the United States for decades to ensure that such agreements meet the highest standards of nuclear safety, nuclear security, and nuclear non-proliferation. Well, it had been a strong United States policy since the 1970s to discourage countries from pursuing either reprocessing or enrichment technology. That was the consistent U.S. approach for more than 40 years at that point, although it's very difficult to say under the Trump regime, has not changed and should remain consistent in discouraging the proliferation of nuclear weapons. Trump approach to negotiations is very different from conventional military or diplomatic negotiations, and it relies greatly on the ability of the negotiating partner to employ flattery and bribery in pursuit of its goals with the Trump regime. If the ROK is to build and operate nuclear submarines that employ low enriched uranium, then that agreement can be met. There are ample supplies of uranium, and the U.S. is building new capacity to enrich uranium to the 19.75% level that could be used in a new nuclear submarine. But those nuclear submarines will not be built in the next 2 years. And so I would hope that both the ROK and the United States would take a careful, measured approach to actual needs and negotiate accordingly. I don't see the pressure of a 2-year deadline as being necessary. Both Korea and Australia face potential security threats from China, and Korea, of course, also from the DPRK. They have different geographic positions, however. Australia is a much larger nation with much deeper water and larger territory of the ocean to patrol. The ROK faces primarily security threats in its immediate neighborhood, which is generally not the deepest parts of the ocean. There is no magic weapon, neither nuclear submarines nor nuclear weapons, that guarantee South Korea's security. And every choice to pursue higher technology instead of pursuing a stronger conventional defense is a choice that the ROK makes that I think is not necessarily the wisest military choice. Nuclear-powered submarines are not the same thing as nuclear weapons. It is possible to operate nuclear-powered submarines without transferring enrichment or reprocessing technology. It is possible to operate nuclear submarines using low-enriched uranium, which is what France does with its nuclear submarines, for example, and which does not pose the same proliferation threat as the use of submarines that employ highly enriched uranium, that is bomb-grade enriched uranium. I think the important thing is to focus on the more cost-effective and safer option of fueling such submarines with low-enriched uranium rather than high-enriched uranium. Resuming American nuclear testing is unnecessary from a technological or military standpoint. It would simply allow other countries carte blanche to begin testing again and to gain as much knowledge about nuclear weapons as the United States has. So it would be a net detriment to the global security and the threats that ROK and others face. And it would contribute to the trilateral arms race that has already begun. The New START treaty between the US and Russia will expire. Russia has offered to extend key terms of the treaty by 1 year. The United States has not responded to that offer. There are almost zero nuclear experts or negotiation experts in the current administration. So I don't know what will happen. I do know that there are already influential voices in Washington who are looking forward to the expiration of the treaty and to the prospect of rapidly building up America's nuclear arsenal in a way that China is already doing. They have sufficient high-enriched uranium to build a nuclear weapon, but they can't do that overnight. So there remains time to negotiate a deal that changes the dynamic between Iran and the rest of the world, and that offers some assurance that Iran will not withdraw from the Non-Proliferation Treaty and will not build nuclear weapons. The only path to achieve that, however, is through diplomacy, not through war, not through threats. This administration shows very little capacity to listen to the concerns of others and seek to address them. This is the basic art of the diplomat, is you actually have to talk and listen to the other side.